Memorial Day has come and gone, and what is left on this sea of unknown movies? What is the Phoenician scheme? What is a Phoenician? What is a scheme? In Wes Anderson's latest movie, we will find out and dissect here on Popcorn for Breakfast.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kurt.
Welcome to Popcorn for Breakfast. We have an exclusive episode. This is a special 4.5-hour episode, so Cam, get ready, because
Yes.
I just want you to be ready for everything I've got coming your way.
I'm ready. I love how you always call things exclusive, even though they're not, because it makes me feel special.
Well, you are special.
And on a Sunday night, I need it.
Cam's been out gallivanting across the city, so I just wanted to see how long he can last for all of this recording. So, Cam, what do you think? You got 30 minutes in, you got 2 hours?
We're going to find out the limits of mental toughness right here. We're going to figure out how long I can grit this out. I was like, before Kurt got here, I was like literally falling asleep. So we're going to do it. We're going to do this thing.
Listen, I've done that before. I've definitely taken naps before we've recorded.
I know you have. I know that you fall asleep sometimes whenever you're putting your kids to bed. You just like pass out, and I know it. I can sense it.
I do,
because I'll text you and I'm like, he hasn't read it. He hasn't done anything. He's zonked out somewhere. And then you're like, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
And then I have the most energy when I come to that recording because of my
second wind.
Right.
I love it.
Right. I think we should implement that in regular daily, like 9 to 5 work.
We should require it. That's what we should do.
4-day work weeks. 1 hour naps every day.
Midday. I like it.
And you could do less. 1 hour is the maximum, but you got to do at least 20 minutes required. Here we go. We're not talking about naps today. We're going to talk about the Phoenician scheme. And Cam's got, I don't know what we would call it. You've got the upper hand. You've got the long straw. I've got the short one. Cam gets to announce the awards today that we go through and how we describe our spoiler-free movie review in a way that is like the WWE championship belt. You get to...
What?
Yes. So I'll remind our listeners, I think I'm more tired than you. I'm going to remind the listeners here, we go through a couple of different awards, categories. The first is, and the Oscar goes to. That's our best actor. And then we go to scene stealer. That's like supporting actor there for you. Showstopper. That is a specific moment or theme or something incredible about the film that we want to provide and point you towards. Like, hey, you might want to see this movie because of this reason. We also have the director's shoes, where we ask the director on Instagram after the show what size shoe they have.
That's the most important part. Yeah.
Check it out on all of our socials.
I think we're like 0 for 4 so far on
That
those.
is correct.
But hey, you just keep shooting.
Someone will respond at some point, and we will have their shoe size. What we'll do with that information, I have no idea. But really, the director's shoes is about finding out what we would have done differently if we were in the director's literal shoes. And then finally, we'll have our last looks, where we give you our final thoughts and scores on this movie. And the trickiest part, where the belt comes in, the WWE belt, I buried the lead there a long time ago, is that Cam gets to select a person for, and the Oscar goes to. I get to select someone, but it cannot be the same person that he picked, sadly.
Yeah. And this is an interesting one. I mean, it's a Wes Anderson movie, right? One of those things, he's one of those guys that just has a certain draw to him for people and has for a little while now. I think for a lot of times he was a lot of people's gateway into like auteur filmmaking, because he has this really unique touch, and it's very welcoming, for people who feel intimidated by artsy films. Like he provides a very warm embrace to kind of welcome you into it. And so a lot of people, myself included, really like started looking at films differently because of Wes Anderson. And he's been on an interesting streak. We'll talk a little bit more about like what's been going on with his filmography, but I'm excited to dive into this one because it's another chance for like a real cinematic Wes Anderson experience. I mean, we got Asteroid City a couple years ago, but we were still kind of recovering from COVID at that point. And the one before that, I think, was on Netflix, the Henry Sugar.
Those were after.
Or was that after Asteroid City?
I think they were after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it felt good to be back in like a cinematic setting with Wes. It just felt, the scale was good. Everything felt right. So I'm ready to dig in, and I get to start with And the Oscar Goes To, right?
Are you ready?
I am.
Are you guys ready? Take us away, Cam.
Let's do it. I'm going with an actor who actually is not one of my faves. Somebody who really tries to go a lot of different places with their performances, often in terms of range, and that's Benicio del Toro. Benicio del Toro, who plays Zsa Zsa Corda in this movie. And here's the thing about Benicio. I think a lot of people view him, I think it's fair to say he's a pretty eccentric actor. He likes to interpret his characters wildly. He's pretty fearless. He takes big swings in his interpretations of characters and how he characterizes them. I think for me, though, a lot of times that stuff falls flat. Even in movies that I really like The Usual Suspects, I don't totally love how he plays that character the whole time. I think it's a lot of risky choices, and he's just that kind of guy. I think the same thing in like The Last Jedi is another one where I'm like,
that's wild.
It's bizarre, right? But then you see him in things like Sicario, right? And you're like, this is perfect. Mm-hmm. You know, he's psychotic, but it's channeled. And so he has these, you know, ups and downs. For me personally, when I watch his performances, I'm like, that was not for me. But some of them I love so much. And in this movie, I felt like he was perfectly cast. I was a little scared when I saw him as top billing on the movie because I was just like, man, Benicio del Toro in a Wes Anderson movie could go a lot of different ways. But Zsa Zsa Corda is not the way I expected them to go, but I'm so glad that they did. This character is, first of all, just hilarious. Has incredible, Benicio's comedic timing the whole time is locked in. He's delivering these really deadpan, hilarious line deliveries. This character is supposed to be just like pretty much just like a heartless monster, like just snatching men's souls everywhere he goes, like winning business deals, cutthroat, like whatever. And Benicio just slides into it so effortlessly and so hilariously. I think he just understood the character and what Wes was trying to do on such an intimate level. And he was locked in. I liked it a lot. And this cast is huge. I mean, look at the poster. There's tons of, you know, how Wes does. Like, there's tons of like quasi cameos throughout this movie, little tiny characters played by huge actors, right? But for me, Benicio del Toro as Zsa Zsa Corda, that was the performance for me. It was great.
Well, that was the one I was going to choose.
Yeah.
So you can hold your WWE belt high right now.
Take that.
Yeah, I thought the same. He's very wild. His choices are very out there. It's almost as if he makes a list and says, this is exactly what would be a normal choice. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is respectful, but also it doesn't work all the time. No. So you have to play the character, and he played it very well. So bravo, Mr. Benicio del Toro. I have to choose my next in line for, and the Oscar goes to, as Michael Cera.
Love it.
He's so great. I don't think that post-Arrested Development, Michael Cera always has the opportunity to shine in the right role. The only other movie that I can think, calling it from my memory, is Molly's Game with Jessica Chastain. He plays that character so sly, so sinister. Like, it's incredible what he does. You got to go check it out. Molly's Game. It's an Aaron Sorkin movie written and directed. But he does some incredible things in here too. He is in his prime of comedy. He is ad-libbing at all the right moments, but not too much. We talk a lot about over ad-libbing and how it's very frustrating when we see that. And thank goodness he's not doing that here. He is hitting his marks. He is committing to his character, and might be the funniest person, the one that I laughed at the most, I think, in this film, just because of his absolute silliness. I love silliness. I love proper silliness, not forced. I'm going to try to get a laugh from this screen from my pals when I go to the red carpet screening. Michael Cera, you did it. Bravo.
Yeah, great choice. So we're moving on to Scene Stealer.
Yes,
and normally this would be like one of those kind of like cameo things that pops up in a Wes Anderson movie, one of those smaller roles. But I'm actually going to go with another one of our leads and go with Mia Threepleton, who I was not familiar with, to my knowledge, prior to this movie, and who plays Zsa Zsa Corda's daughter, who is also in the process of becoming a nun. And so she is the counterbalance to, you've got this really heartless business type guy, and then you've got Mia Threepleton's character, who is all about like selflessness and giving back and like sacrificing her life for the greater good and things like that. And her performance is one that I think, will fly under the radar. She plays it very straight the whole time. That's just who her character is. Like every delivery is super deadpan. Everything is very straight. But it works. And I think that there's still a real element of timing for a comedic perspective. And there's always characters like this in Wes Anderson movies that just are super stoic, unemotional, and deliver things that are super funny. And they play an important role to counteract all the zaniness that's sort of happening around them. And I thought Mia Threepleton was great. I thought she played it very well. She was very convincing. And I think in a movie with a bunch of characters where I'm kind of like, what's happening here? Like what are we doing here? Her character was the one that I really could anchor to and feel something, feel her story and her journey and what she was thinking and just feel kind of in tune with her. So I think a lot of that's due to her performance. I think it's a well-written character and she did well.
Can I blow your mind right now?
Yeah.
As they say. Do you know that she is Kate Winslet's daughter?
No. Is this one of those things I'm supposed to know? I'm so bad at like celebrity, like any of the like TMZ stuff. Like I love movies, but I don't keep up with the family stuff at all.
Yeah. That was news to me.
That's crazy.
I didn't know it till after our screening. I
can kind of see it now.
Yes.
Actually. Yeah.
I watched this interview and they said, "How does your mom, Kate Winslet, feel?" And I'm like, "Huh?" Like and then you watch the interview and you're like, "Oh no, those are all of Kate Winslet's mannerisms."
Yeah.
But not in the movie. In the movie, she's a completely isolated character, but
yeah, she like barely emotes in the movie.
Correct.
Like truly, like her face is just like the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just want to throw that tidbit out for you, Cam, and for our listeners, because I mean,
wow,
it's crazy information.
That is crazy. Kate Winslet, one of the greats.
One of the greats.
Truly.
Yes, she's going to be just decorated as much as Meryl Streep one day.
She should be.
My scene stealer was also going to be Miss Mia Threepleton, but you took that from me as well, Cam.
2 for 2 on the steals.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, you're really struggling now.
You mentioned that, there's lots of cameo actors in Wes Anderson's movies. Mm-hmm. He likes to bring back his people to give them a little paycheck bump, and because he just wants to continue the lore of his movies with those same favorite people. I think the one that wasn't in this is Ed Norton. I bet you that was a complete unknown film clash scheduling, most likely.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Jason Schwartzman, I don't think either.
I think he was filming Mountainhead, which is now streaming on HBO Max. Check that out.
Yep.
So I think that those are the only reason why they're not in this movie itself.
Right.
So I got to go with, this is a new one.
Okay.
Mr. Bryan Cranston.
Yes, dude. Yes. I'm actually so glad you're going here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take it away.
So Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks, they play a little bit of, what are the two Muppets, the old Muppets that curmudgeon each other?
Shoot. I know that. I'll look it up.
If you go to Muppet Vision, which is I think now officially deceased in Disney World, I think they closed it down. It's going to become Monsters Inc. World. Those two just old people just like riffing off each other. What are their names?
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf. They just play off each other so well. That's what we have in Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks in this. I mean, Odd Couple is not precise. That is precise. That is who they are. And I love it so, so much. He just comes out of nowhere, him and Tom Hanks. And he plays more of a straight man to Tom Hanks's curmudgeon. And I don't even really remember what they do or what purpose they hold. It's one of the many dealings that Benicio del Toro is trying to get to a certain goal. And to get that goal, he has to go through all these people and trick them and manipulate them. And he has to manipulate these two. And they're very suspicious. They're very quirky. They're very bad basketball players. There's a scene where they have a little basketball, and I just love everything Bryan Cranston is doing. He is the one that knocks in this movie, and absolute home run from him. Thank goodness that it was, because we saw him in Argyle, and maybe we need to add an extra category.
Was he in Argyle?
Yes, he was Bryce Howard's father.
Her dad.
Yeah. So I think that we need to give maybe one day we'll add another category where there's like a Razzie for, but I don't want to be super mean, but that was bad. It was a bad performance, bad movie.
Yes.
But Bryan Cranston, you're redeemed. You're on your way to more stardom right after you do the Malcolm in the Middle reboot.
Yes. Thank you for picking that. Here's why I'm glad you brought it up, because I just finished watching The Studio on Apple TV Plus. and Bryan Cranston has so much fun in that show. It is insane. He just, it's pure euphoria,
Unabashed.
Unrequited, just like he's just going crazy all over that show. It's hilarious. It's incredible. And this movie, I was just like, whenever he popped up and he's just doing his thing, I'm like, this guy's having more fun than anybody in Hollywood. Truly. Like, he's having a blast, and it's super fun to watch because he's such an electric entertainer, period. Mm-hmm. And glad you picked it because it is tiny. His role is like so small, but it just pops because he is who he is. And
so this is not a plug, but it can be if you're listening. Apple TV Plus, all episodes are streaming of the studio.
Yes, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're somebody who loves movies. There are so many. It really is like by movie lovers for movie lovers. That show is. There are so many inside jokes that are gonna make you die if you're like in the industry, like you and I are, and people who listen to this, I assume, are as well.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out.
Beautiful. Let's move on to our next category, the showstopper category. This is where we talk about a single moment that stopped us in our tracks, brought us to tears or side-splitting laughter. I don't know why I'm talking like this, like the movie film guy back from the 90s.
It's scaring me. I'm afraid.
I'm going to talk like this for the rest of the episode.
No. Please don't.
Could be a moment in the movie, could be a scene in the movie, could be a whole sequence, or it could be just something thematically or the score. What do you got, Cam, for your showstopper?
Yeah, which the score was good. It was on Andre Desplat, who is always phenomenal. I also want to say really quickly, as you were talking about the Bryan Cranston scene, it's hilarious how this podcast is spoiler free. Like we couldn't even spoil this movie if we tried.
No,
I actually don't think it's possible because it's so all over the place. So that's hilarious. But part of my showstopper is kind of based on the fact that it's all over the place, which is the dynamic contrast of the movie throughout, mostly through that gorgeous and iconic Wes Anderson production design that he always brings, that aesthetic. In this movie, they traverse so many different areas in so many like vastly different settings that I was like just feasting on the details of every scene, watching it unfold in front of me. You know, there's jungle, there's desert, there's interior, there's epic exterior, there's all these ginormous scale fake locations that they've come up with. And it's just gorgeous throughout, and it's all consistent. And I think that was one of the things, like, when you think back at like Henry Sugar, when you watch that, you're like, this doesn't have the scale. It feels like it's all on a stage. And I think part of that was intentional because it was meant to feel very, very like cozy, quaint, Roald Dahl. You're reading a book and it's coming to life in front of you, whatever. But I think Wes Anderson with scale is so impressive. You think back to the Grand Budapest. Big reason why so many people love that movie, besides just it's a great story with a really great Ralph Fiennes performance and fun characters, is that it's gorgeous and it's epic. I mean, it's just big, giant, sprawling, beautiful landscapes. And this movie has that too. Not to the same level of the Grand Budapest, because the Grand Budapest is just a very smartly constructed movie around that hotel and the way that it comes to life and you fall in love with the hotel itself. This is different than that because you're constantly moving around, but every single set piece, you're like, holy cow, how many artists worked on this? How many set designers worked on this? Like, it's mind-blowing. And that's before even getting to the costumes, which are also incredible and mind-blowing. So it's probably the cheap pick for a Wes Anderson movie, but I'm going to take it because it needs to be acknowledged. It's incredible work.
It's an important one. It's, when you think about movies literally are moving pictures, and every way that Wes frames his picture, the camera, it is all symmetrical. It is all literally a frame, and how the characters move in and out that the frame remains static, yet it is so active, with how he blocks it, and how the camera moves so gently left, right, up, down, forward, back to keep that same symmetry. It's brilliant that no one else has done it before.
I know. It's super. Yeah. It's one of those things you see and you're just like, oh, this is genius. Truly genius.
I would have to say my showstopper, because there's so many characters in a Wes Anderson movie, is that the introductions for this particular movie are flawless. They're like, I know I said I don't remember like the names of Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks characters, but that's not really the point with them. It's really not the point with all of them, but you just have to know how they interact with the core of the story. And if they're mentioning them in exposition, you have to recall their name. And you do that throughout all of this. There's not a lot of exposition that ties back to Bryan Cranston. It's just like in that moment, they are with them and then they move on, right? So in this throughout the movie, you get these characters and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to like put them in like a little bag so I remember their name and like put it in my head. No, like the way he introduces them is so easy to still follow the story as it's going. I can't remember the story much anymore because it's a very layered and complex story.
Yes.
So I can't recount that to anyone, gun to my head. Like it won't happen. But I can tell you that it's for someone who stresses out when a movie starts. I'm like, okay, what are the characters' names? Please say them 3 times.
You don't want to miss anything. Right.
Right. So those things stress me out because I don't know. We'll find out someday why.
Doctors have yet to discover exactly why.
Someone diagnosed me, and that's really comforting going into any movie. Of how helping follow the story. Who is my ride or die throughout there? Who am I going to attach to and have a good time with?
I love it. Well said.
With that, we move on to the director's shoes. Now, again, we won't be able to tell you the size shoe that Wes Anderson wears today, but one day we hope to do that after many, many direct messages. That's what they call it these days, right? Direct messages.
That's what they say.
Okay.
And we can also guarantee that the shoes will likely be loafers.
Yes.
He's not a shoelace guy.
No.
He's just not. It's not his vibe.
Can you imagine if he was like wearing Nikes?
No,
cannot. I don't see that.
I think all of his shoes come to a point, and I think that it's meant to be that way.
Point like an elf. Honestly, he is kind of elf-like.
He's elvish. Yes,
he's like a head elf because he's pretty tall, pretty tall and lanky. Well, we'll stop talking about your characteristics, Wes Anderson, if you're watching, and we're going to talk about the director's shoes, things that we would have changed if we had sat in your beautiful, luxurious chair. Cam, take it away.
Yeah, it's for me. It does come back to that story, but it's more specifically the characters, and I think that the thing that makes Wes Anderson's best movies so great is that you've got these really exaggerated, caricaturish characters that he always has in his movies. But in the good Wes Anderson movies, there's an immense amount of humanity that hits you at some point about each of them. And sometimes it's very late in the movie. Sometimes you've watched 90 minutes of nonsense and you're like, what? And then in the last 10 minutes, you're like, wow, I get it. Like I'm connecting with that. In this movie, I really struggled to connect with much of anything. I didn't feel an emotional connection to really any character. I mentioned Mia Threepleton's character. I did feel some slight emotional connection to her, but that's it. And so what makes that difficult is that whenever they're just caricatures and it's all just like kind of gimmicks and bits and everything feels like it's just serving the bits and stuff, it feels very empty. And so I was really left wanting at the end. I'm watching it and I'm going, this story is probably sound. I can't sit here and it's too intricate for me to understand everything and understand like, oh, there's a plot hole. There's too many things going on. But knowing Wes Anderson, it's sound. I'm sure that the story it works. But I have a bigger problem with not feeling a human connection to the story. And that leaves me feeling kind of empty and wanting at the end, which is a bummer because at the beginning I was really excited because I immediately felt like, hey, this is a linear story. And I love a linear story. Things that are not linear are great too, but for me, like a good old fashioned narrative, I'm ready to fall in love with it. It's just the way that I am. And his last couple of movies have really not been. Like Asteroid City was not exactly linear. There was a weirdness to it. And you look at like The French Dispatch as well as the Roald Dahl stuff, the Henry Sugar stuff is like an anthology, you know, where you've got these kind of interconnected stories. And so I was kind of craving something a little more linear from Wes, because all of my favorite movies of his are like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Grand Budapest, Rushmore, Moonrise Kingdom. And so this was that, but it didn't give me I couldn't feel this one at all. I felt pretty empty at the end of it, which was a huge bummer for me. And it really comes down to the characters. They're just they're too much of a caricature. There's no touch and feel for me to them.
Yeah. You hear that, Wes? You hear that?
I need something tactile.
You've left Cam empty. And I will not stand for this. How dare you, Wes?
I appreciate you.
Wesley. We've cracked the code on his full name. Director's shoes for me, I think that there were too many superfluous characters. I think that Scarlett Johansson was not necessary at all in this film. Completely just pointless. Pointless 7 minutes, didn't need her whatsoever. I'm not the biggest Scarlett Johansson fan, but
I've gathered that over the years. I can sense that a little bit.
But I will say, if ever someone like plays the part well, I'll go back on it. I'll say, great, that was what I was looking for. I don't want you to be just a hyped up actor. I want you to be like a good actor. And I don't see that yet in ScarJo. But I do wish that she would have been given something, because it almost seemed like she had a fully formed character, but it just didn't play very well. So my director chooses to get her out of there entirely. And then the momentum of the story just fell off hard in the middle. It starts off so well. We're learning good information. As Cam said, it's a good linear story. I can tell that we're going on these little adventures, all these little dealings, and there's some money happening. Okay, cool. I don't really need to pay attention to these numbers flashed on the screen. Fantastic. And then we just hit some sections that just are not very exciting or repetitive. And then we get back toward the end, and things fire up and things get exciting again. So Scarlett Jo and lost momentum for me.
Yep. Good one.
It's time for last looks. Cam, you have the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just put this out there right at the beginning. This is a middle tier Wes Anderson movie. This is not bottom tier for me. I've now seen all 13 of his feature length movies, and I love Wes Anderson. I'm a fan.
Let me clap.
No, I don't need that. It's not that big of an accomplishment, really. But yeah, I would put this like pretty firmly in the middle tier. This is not S tier, A tier, or tier 1, or whatever you want to call it.
Can you define all of those acronyms?
I always use S tier, but whenever a lot of people are like, S tier, what is that? And you're just not chronically online like me, I guess, which is a problem for you, not for me. Let's be clear. So like, I would put the S tier at like safely Grand Budapest, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, and then you can debate on a couple more. Rushmore would be in there for me. Royal Tenenbaums would probably be in there for a lot of people, what have you. So this is not that tier. This is definitely below. This is the middle tier of Wes Anderson. But I would say this is still a good time. It's actually a very funny movie, very funny. There are some parts in the first half of the movie that are outrageously hilarious. But there are a lot too of recurring bits that just kind of get played out, where it's like, there's lines that they're trying to hit over and over again to bring it back. And by time like 5 or 6, you're like, okay, I'm kind of tired of that. And a lot of it feels like, okay, it feels a lot like we're just doing this for bits sometimes, which I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of like, we're only doing this for the bit. But it's gorgeous. It's got the great music. It's got all the feels. If you love a Wes Anderson movie, it's got scale, which for me is something that's been missing recently in Wes Anderson movies. So I still like it, but I don't love it. And so for me, this is a 6.6 out of 10 kernels.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to add to my showstopper here in my last looks. Just going to break the rules here. You ready for this?
I love it.
There's a scene where the frame of this scene looks like it is a like a diorama, and all of a sudden, real people start walking in it, and that moment alone raised this score for me. There's a Hitchcock film. I can't remember. People are gonna hate me.
No one hates you.
They all hate me, Kim. There's a Hitchcock film that starts with like a similar. It's like an aerial shot. This one isn't an aerial shot. It's a forward facing elevation of a big, large, giant room.
Yep.
But in the Hitchcock film, it's an aerial shot and it crawls gently. I don't know if it's vertigo. It probably is vertigo. Right at the top, the black screen opens and you just see like cars driving, and it almost looks like when you're riding around in Peter Pan and in Disney World or Disneyland, and the cars are on lights and it looks like they're driving in London.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that, but it wasn't CGI. It was a real lens, like high above these buildings. That's what this looks like, just front facing this giant room with marble ceilings and pillars and grounds, and then people just walk in and they sit, and I'm like, what? That's a real shot with real people. It was so beautiful. I just have to put that in there because this would be lower for me as well in the mid tier. I've seen 10 out of 13 of Wes's projects now, and this would hit the middle as well. Wonderful lighting, wonderful colors, wonderful fun, big laughs. Probably the biggest laugh the first 30 seconds of this film.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I just don't know how he comes up with these insane plots. They're so intricate. They're so layered. Like, what man sits in a room and says, I've got it, and then writes what you see in these films? And no one else is doing it. And I'm very close to you. I wrote this down. I promise I didn't try to piggyback off of you.
Yeah.
My final score for Last Looks for The Phoenician Scheme, 6.4 out of 10 kernels.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, so whenever we go to these screenings, we have to go out and tell the guys what we thought, just to get, so the studio can get feedback. Shout out Focus Features. Thank you for hooking us up, as always. But it was one of those things where we walked out and I had to give my first thought, and I was just like, I hate to say it, that it's mid-tier, because it is a gorgeously, beautifully done, well-scaled movie. It's funny. It's got a lot going for it, but there's just something. There's just a lifelessness and emptiness to it. There's a lack of being able to connect with it, and it does make it feel longer than I think it any like hour and 40-minute movie should feel. And so there's just there are bits and pieces where it just does not all come together, even though the parts themselves are good. Mm-hmm. You've got good actors, you've got a good script, you've got a good story on paper, and it just doesn't all come together.
Yeah, I wonder if this one really is a multi-viewing, if that 6.4 and 6.6 raises to like a 7, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really funny jokes in this movie to make me like, I want to watch it again to laugh as hard as I did at parts. Mm-hmm. But there were some too where people were laughing in the theater that I was like,
yeah,
no, this is not working for me. Or like, this is the 5th time we've heard that joke. Like, can we please stop?
It's a rule of 3 on comedy, Wes. We're coming for you. It
was surprising, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, we're really going back to this?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You got to feel that out, but still good. And I mean, a Wes Anderson movie is always worth seeing on the big screen as well. And obviously 6s are not bad scores.
No.
But making it clear for both of us, this is not peak Wes Anderson.
S tier.
This is not S tier.
A++ tier.
And I just hope in my heart of hearts, though I'll watch his movies forever, for as long as he makes them, that this isn't like, this is the late stage Wes Anderson where like this is kind of the norm. Because I think when he's at his best, he is one of the best, truly, to ever do it. So I want to get back to peak.
It's trending that way. What was the last one he released? That one was weird.
Asteroid City.
Before that, sorry. It was like a museum, black and white.
Oh, The French Dispatch?
That was a weird one.
I did not like that one.
No, I didn't like that one at all.
Some people love it. I really did not like that one.
Super, super dark.
That to me is like way low on the Wes Anderson rankings. For me, I was not a fan.
Yeah, it almost felt like that creepy movie with Vigo, Crimes of the Future.
Oh my!
I only turned that on for 10 minutes and then I got scared.
It was very dark, but
David Cronenberg, that's the director.
It also just was like not interesting.
Yeah.
So
it was
So
he was watching some weird stuff that influenced him, and I don't know what happened, Wes, during that time, but
it's okay. If he seems like he's trending in the right direction, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if you're a big Wes Anderson fan and you're going to go see The Phoenician Scheme this week, head out there, go see it, check it out. any movie theater that you can find. It's open wide release this weekend, right? This coming weekend.
June 6th is the wide release. All you East and West Coast elites, you probably have already had it in your theaters, but not us here in the old corn shucking Midwest. we gotta wait till Friday.
There's not even that much corn right now in our area.
No, there's not.
As we diss them.
Offensive stereotype.
For feeding our families across America, Cam. We love you too.
We love farmers.
We want to tell you. We'll have shirts next week that says "We love farmers." Thank you for joining in. Check us out on podcast form, on YouTube form, on TikTok form, on Facebook form, on X form, on website form at popcorn4breakfast.com. That's popcorn4breakfast.com. We're all over the place. So if you happen to not be able to find us, that's on you. But we want to hear from you also. We want to see those comments. We want to see those likes. Hit the dislike button if you want to, but only if it's valid, not to be like a troll. Like really, really have a reason for it. And then we'll come for you and we'll be really nice about it. But we'll ask you, hey, can you please put the plus, the like button?
We might. I don't know how to do that, but get there.
We'll hack in. We'll take care of it. We thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon.